No.
This train ain't a stopping.
It's not on rails.
Well, my name is Michael Butzine. I'm here with Deven Williams at the Containers on Grand, hosted by Artphx.org. That is Artphx. But yes, we are very glad to be having Deven amongst us today. How you doing?
I'm really well. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be chatting with you, Mike.
Yes, I know. It's awesome seeing you around the scene, quite active. And now I get to interview you, which is very, I feel like, stepping it up. And this is awesome. We're growing, and, we're artists.
We are. This is a new run, I think. Phoenix definitely seems to be a place that is incubating some really fun projects and giving a lot of new artists like myself space to try out our craft and to work with others who are established in their craft, kind of like you are. And
oh gosh, I don't know about established. Fake it till I make it.
Exactly. I mean, ultimately, it's just pulling trick after trick after the hat, out of the hat rather. And the crazy thing though about sort of my emergence though is I didn't really feel confident calling myself an artist until about 2017, and it was after working with the Walter Productions crew for about a year and a half before I realized, wow, an artist in my mind is heavily idealized, and they've got classical works on canvas, or they're sculptors of marble, but really art can be as fast and loose as just making an office space temporarily into this Alice in Wonderland thing, or it could be an art car that has taken 50 to 100 people to really create over the course of huge amounts of time. But after working with them and seeing what art can be, especially through the lens of Burning Man, I finally felt confident calling myself an artist. And since then, I've been just working as much as I can to committing what I used to just think were doodles on paper or just scraps of not art material and putting them onto wood or canvas or what have you. I don't really like canvas, but wood.
Yeah, I can. The group you're been associated with, it's really about from my experience. It's transformational, and transformational art.
Yeah.
And really creating an experience that makes you go beyond, what you were doing yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a memory from when you were a child? A transformational art experience that you can recall?
There's something that does come to mind. I was about, I want to say 6 years old. It was a birthday party, and I remember waking up that day feeling exuberant, of course, because you're 6 and everything's amazing, everything's shiny. But I was to go see a show at, I think it was the Phoenix Art Museum via the Phoenix Little Theater. And my mom worked for Arizona Theater Company at the time, so she was sort of in the industry and knew people. And so when we got there, I found out that it was a magic show that we were going to see, and I'm through the roof about this. I've never seen a magic man before. I've never gone to see a show, and the entire experience, I remember I was kind of just looking at the world through these huge pie plate lenses of an eye to just watch every detail and see every little flourish. But by the end of the show, he was asking for a volunteer, and I I shot my hand up, and I can only chalk it up to my mom pulling strings behind the scene, but he chose me, and I went up on stage, and to help him, they were using projection mapping. And so it was crazy because my 6th birthday was 2000, and projection mapping then was kind of rudimentary, but it still was getting the effect of there's a whole world on this flat surface that we're touching and manipulating. And so on the screen goes this giant beach ball, but it's 2D, and he's over on his side of the stage, and he bounces the ball, but he's not touching a ball, but it responds to him. And I'm on the other side of the stage, kind of just watching and being how am I going to do this? What am I supposed to do? I don't have a ball like that. And So he bounces it a few times, bounces it, and then like makes to set it over to me. And sure enough, he sets it, and then I just like sort of out of this, you think it's real, it's virtual reality, and you bounce the ball back. And we did that a few times, and it was just this, I hate using the word crazy for transformational, but it seemed completely beyond the threshold of what I was able to think of what's real and what's art and what's physical, what's fantasy and what's reality. And I remember that being the first instance in my mind in childhood of just being like, there's more to this than I think, but yet like it is and can be simple. We're inspiring a world for people, but it's up to us to kind of hold our hand out and say, bounce the ball, play with me.
Wow, that's really, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that. Like, how do you see yourself presenting that ball to others today? Like what tell me about the work that you're doing today and that connection.
I think the way that I describe my artwork is sort of to be a digital Rorschach blot, in that like it's not totally organic like the ink blots from the researcher would suggest, but yet I'm using symmetry and repeated geometric forms to try to push past people's rational mind. And I want them to begin to put their own narrative into the framework that I provide. So just like how that bouncing the ball with the magician on stage was suspending my disbelief and the audience's disbelief of they're interacting with this seemingly non-physical surface and like making it work, I want my artwork to show people that when we push past the sort of thinking mind, the one that likes to count and check and correct, there's a subjective experience, a very subjective world that we all kind of are connected to in our own way. And when we're given space, especially with an artwork, I think you form an attachment to it based off of, like, oh, some people would see, a 6-pointed star and think of a religion. Some people would think of a 6-pointed star and see like heart chakra. And so I want people to be exposed to my work with common images and symbols to show them that there's something rich beneath the surface, and it's not the same for everyone, but we can tie it together.
Searching for like unleashing people into the unknown.
Something that we all get to do in our own way. We get to show people just a glimpse of who we are, or maybe a side of who we are through our artwork, and it's different for everyone, but when they're empowered, I think that anyone will show you their best self.
Yes, that is perfect. Is there anyone out there that inspires you today that could also maybe affect where you'd be 10 years from now, or where you see yourself 10 years from now?
Yes. Kirk Strawn of Walter Productions gives me so much inspiration for the way that he made his life about his skill and accrued resources, wealth, space, what have you, and now is focused on giving people platforms to express their creativity, to express their ability to lead other people, and just basically giving the reins to people and saying, okay, do the thing. And for me, I think 10 years from now, I definitely here presently feel like I do need a lot more experience and more runs, so to say, to get chops, or like essentially branch out more with my artwork. And I think that learning more disciplines, I think, is where I'm driven. But 10 years down the line, it would be incredible to be able to have not a huge space, but something big enough to be able to have events or gallery shows or just experimental weird stuff for people to not worry about asking permission, or permission's good, but but still to have that agency. I think it's tremendous to see how people display themselves when you give them enough space to do it, and I would love to bring that back to Phoenix somehow in 10 years to have an additional sort of like art guild or just something that is decentralized but organized for creative expression.
Yeah, we need that organization as artists. You know, we're so free floating that as long as we got
nailing Jello to a tree.
All right, that's me. 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Well, I mean, this is awesome, Deven. I mean, I wish everyone could hear what we're saying off the air too, because I'm learning a lot about you. Even though you know, we've been around in the scene together for a bit. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I want to thank Nathan Green and Artphx. This is just, you know, this is fun. You know, we're adulting.
We are. I think this is a valid excuse for adulting.
Yes, and doing the things we love.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you guys. Cheers. Party on.
Party on.
Yeehaw.